Corporation. It is 6:06. We are running a few minutes late due to connectivity issues. And so we're going to call this meeting to order again at 6:06. And the first item on the agenda, which I will do, will be invocation. And after that will be the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mr. Marlon Goff. So if you will take a moment with me to stand. Dear God, our Father, we acknowledge your presence, we acknowledge your power. We acknowledge that you have made us and not we ourselves. We're thankful for this opportunity that you have lovingly granted us to serve the community in which we love so dearly. And so with that in mind, realizing and recognizing that you are the source of all our help, we ask humbly that you would lead, guide, and direct us as we go through our deliberations this evening, that we might accomplish your heart's desire on behalf of this community. And at this moment, our thoughts turn to the family of Shonda Vaughn, a public works employee with the city of Duncanville, who has made her transition over into your presence. We pray for her family, her loved ones, peace, comfort. We pray that you would continue to lead and guide us, that we would be successful in all of our endeavors on behalf of this community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. First, to the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pray then the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you so much. You may be seated. Okay, agenda item number 1, Citizens Public Forum. Do we have any comments from out yonder in our community?
We do not have any email comments, sir.
No email comments.
No.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Agenda item number 2, approval of meeting.
Are there any members of the public present tonight?
I am so sorry. Any members of the public present who would like to speak on any item on the agenda at this time? Okay, we will move ahead. Agenda item number 2, approval of meeting minutes for the following DCEDC meetings. Approval of meeting minutes for the October 27th, 2025 and November 15th, 2025 DCEDC meetings. Hopefully you've had a chance to read through those minutes, or are there any comments, any changes?
So go ahead.
No, just one procedural question. I know that we voted, or there was a procedural change to do roll call votes. Is it now a procedural change to document those roll call votes within the meeting minutes as well going forward? Whether or not?
Good question.
This is a question for me.
I'm not sure. Is it for staff or for the attorney?
It makes no difference legally with how you do it, but it might be helpful for the staff if they could go back and see how people voted.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Zilker?
I just have a question on October 27th notes, if I can get into that.
Okay.
There's some redacted items down at public hearings. Is that redacted permanently for the final document, or is that, just for these notes?
Mr. Zucker, that's a good question. I would even ask the economic development team to kind of weigh in here and provide an explanation to your request.
Okay, so specific question regarding the minutes.
October 27th, yeah, 7 and 6, under public hearings, have redacted items, and I was just curious, is that permanently gonna be the finished product, or that'll be filed, or?
So I have the minutes in front of me. So, I mean, is there, it's just an agenda item. Do you know which agenda item that number corresponds to?
It's October 27th, number 6. Page 4. I'm looking at the right PDF.
Is it, when you say redacted, is this the stuff
Or,
that?
struck through, I'm sorry.
Struck through, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
You give us a second, we'll open it in the packet.
I'm looking at, if I may, I just provide some guidance on the matter. I have the opportunity here to review the meeting minutes. The reason that you see that as struck through that language, because that is an item that we agreed to table at that meeting, because we were not in a position to present that item for that evening.
Okay.
That just becomes a matter of just more of a formatting and how to represent the fact that that item was tabled.
So if it was tabled, shouldn't all that be removed from the meeting minutes?
So under the redacted section, it's listed item I. Item was tabled due to updated information not provided to the board in a timely manner per director. Correct. So you're asking, is this how it be recorded permanently?
Yeah, and you used the same word I did.
Yeah.
You said redacted versus struck out.
Struck out,
Yeah.
yeah, redacted.
Yeah. Blocked out. Yeah, so I was just curious. I just think it's cleaner that if it's not information that's pertinent to our meeting notes, it should just be removed.
I think there was a different way of handling and addressing the matter that it was tabled. Given the feedback that you provided, what we can do is moving forward, instead of providing a strike-through version of the item that was removed, we could provide just a simple sentence or two saying this item was removed and maybe provide a quick explanation. You have that here, but I think what's causing a bit of confusion is the fact that you just see struck-through language and creating just that confusion.
And a year from now, it's just.
No.
Yeah, just ask a question.
Thank you for the feedback, and like I said, moving forward, what we will do is instead of striking through language under, what we would just do is provide maybe 1 or 2 sentences, just provide a clear explanation of what occurred on that evening. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that makes it clear. Does anybody else got any comment?
Thank you so much.
All right. So, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion as to the board's pleasure regarding the minutes of the October 27, 2025, and the November 15, 2025 meetings.
And before you make your motion, the meeting was actually on November 17th. And that's the minutes reflect that, they have the correct date, the 17th. The line item says 15th, but since the actual 17th minutes are on the agenda, just when you make your motion, use that date.
I move for approval of the October 27th and the November 17th meeting minutes.
Second.
All right, that's been properly moved and seconded. We will now have a roll call vote.
Ms. Abdi,
Yes.
Mr. Broughton,
Aye.
Mr. Harvey,
Aye.
Ms. Payne,
Aye.
Ms. Thompson, Mr. Zilka.
Aye.
Okay. As unanimous. Okay. Next item on the agenda, item number 3 is board member reports. And so at this time, the chair will recognize board member Zilka, who attended the Christmas extravaganza put
Yeah.
on by the city, and
I did.
would like for him to weigh in.
I did. I thought the crowd attendance was great there, and I think a lot of folks came out, and the weather was cooperating, unless you wanted to make snowmen. It was not cooperating. But a lot of families running around doing stuff. One thing I'd like to offer as a challenge for the city or our economic leadership board is in the food court, I'll call it the food court area, the food truck area. My personal opinion is could we get rid of the generators for the vendors and provide some sort of electric power arrangement for festivals over in that area that eliminates the noise and to me, it's a distraction to a great event. You got music going, and then you go to the food court area, and there's generators running all over the place for the vendors. So maybe there's a way to incorporate a method to serve them power at that area there, and just polish it up a little bit. So and maybe get rid of tripping hazards, because they may not address cords running all over the place and things like that. So that was my only thing that I'd like to maybe see for next year, but I thought it was a great event. And like I said, the drones were flying all high, and I thought that was pretty good. And I had another thing, Marlon would be happy to hear. I don't know if this is appropriate time. I had an opportunity to go over to Ollie's.
Oh, yeah. You called me? Yeah. I was gonna say it if you did.
Yeah, I've been driving up and down that road over there. Ollie's is a store on Camp Wisdom, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I've seen it there, and I've driven by it. And if you've never been there, there's a lot of stuff for anything you could need around the house. And but if they have it, they have it. If you don't get it, then it looks like once it's gone, it's gone. But it was an interesting store. The staff manager there spoke very highly of the area. The sales volume was great, and they were real happy with the area. So I think it's
Yeah, it was good that
a
they
nice
weren't
area.
struggling with, we'll say, loss prevention.
Yeah.
I think that was another thing you mentioned before.
Yeah,
so
yeah, a little
That's
bit of,
encouraging.
yeah, but not as bad as they had hoped, which is a great sign. But you know, we can always do better on that. But the store itself, if you haven't been in it, they've got signs all over the place. They got it decorated and stuff. They put some effort into it, and it's nice to see. This is different than any other store in town. That's all I had.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any other board members to attend the Christmas extravaganza? All right, well, hopefully in the future, we'll be able to work it into our schedule. I can tell you, I go and I get treated very well, and I'm sure if you can work it into your schedule to go, you will also be treated very well by the staff, because they work very hard to make the event a success. And concerning the first item that Mr. Zilka spoke to, since we're on the cusp, as it were, of budget season, and we have our budget directors here in the person of our assistant city managers, interim city manager. I'm sure their ears perked when you talked about an initiative that costs money. So, all right. Okay. So, any other board members' reports, things that they would like to emphasize at this point? All right. Okay, Agenda item number 4, Director's Report, Mr. Director.
Good evening, thank you very much. It's that time of year where we get the email and the request from the Chamber of Commerce as to, they want to know who will be attending and supporting their event next month, Celebrate Duncanville. The event is January 16th, which happens to be a Friday from 6:30 to 9 o'clock. I will be sending you an email later this week to let you know about the event and asking if you will be able to attend the event so I can let the chamber know how many board members plan to be in attendance at that, and we can plan accordingly how many tables to buy. It's show support for that event. That's that. One thing that I wanted to share with you was that on Friday, Miss Savage celebrated a birthday, and in honor of her birthday, we brought some treats. When we scheduled this meeting, we were informed that Miss Savage was going to be present at this meeting. I'm hoping that maybe she encounters some traffic or something, and she will be able to join us later this evening, and we can celebrate her birthday together. But in the event that she's not, we still have those delicious pastries that we will celebrate and let her know that we celebrated her birthday without her being here.
We still sing the song.
We will still sing a song and we will record it. We will record it and let her know that we celebrated and happy birthday to Miss Savage. Briefly, I'm going to share with you this month's featured business, which happens to be Kim and Jenny's. This is as part of a series that we rolled out with, the champions at work. And again, last month we presented the selected business or honor business for the month of November. And here in a little bit, I will show you the finished product and what's already posted on all the city's social media outlets for Kim and Jenny's. And right now, we're also working on the next video for the following month. I wanted to take this opportunity to wish you and your family a happy holiday and Happy New Year. Thank you for all your efforts, for all you do. I know that we had several special meetings throughout the course of this calendar year. There was a lot of discussion. There was a lot of business that we discussed. Bless you. But I'm excited because there's a lot of good momentum going on, a lot of new investment and reinvestment in the community. But I thank you so much for your dedication and your commitment to the board. And again, I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish you and your family a happy and safe holiday. That is it. I think before I share the featured business video, Mr. Goff here presented and handed out some financial reports. Mr. Goff, would you?
Next slide, actually.
Next slide.
Some talking points. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, good evening again, everybody. Marlon Goff, Assistant Director. Just a quick housekeeping item. I promised Ms. Lane that I would remind us all to use our projected voices. This is a really comfortable space, but the voices don't carry well. So for purposes of posterity, the live stream and recording, we definitely want to capture the conversation and help recording the minutes. Okay, to continue with Mr. Berea's director's report, I thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to have a conversation about the physical reports that you come accustomed to receiving every month from the staff. And that's an effort that's just not specific to the development staff. It involves our finance staff as well, right? And so what we see here is just a snapshot example of the various types of reports that have either routinely provided monthly or quarterly and or requested, right? To start the week or the end of the week, we get requests from individual board members. And so I thought, you know what, it would be a good opportunity for us as we start the new year, the new calendar year, we're already in the fiscal year, to make sure staff is on the same page, right, with the types of reports this board wants to receive, and have at their disposal deliberation, but also the frequency, right? And so, again, example, we have on the screen the different types of reports, the sales tax, for example, right, comparables, give you the year-over-year analysis, both the collection, the lag time, and the deposit. That's a product, an artifact that's produced by our finance staff, right? So, we rely on them to provide it, and we include it in our submission to the board. Main Station Financial, again, that joint venture, so the operating statements each month. When we get them from our partner, we include those in the submission. we fund the form of public transportation known as Star Transit. So again, the ridership report is something that we include monthly in the packet. But the other three, it's something that, again, we've provided a few other ones that the staff don't actually produce, and maybe some of them that are provided historically to the city council, but sounds like this board, or at least a few of you, would like to have that product produced and presented to you. So I just wanted to maybe get some reaction, but if nothing more, some thought, and then we could, continue the correspondence so that we're on the same page, that come January, the reports that you're expecting to see are included, right, when we send them out. And we try to time it to where it's, we usually start getting the reports like the second week of the month, depending on, again, we're dependent on other departments and then our partners in these deals. So I just wanted to put that on the screen, see if there's any questions for me, at least right now. Victor started by saying that here's an example of the report that we went ahead and printed because we hadn't received it since the start of the quarter. So if that's something that's still adequate, or if you want it more frequently, again, we want to be accommodating. Mr.
Is this an adequate level for my voice?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. I had the itty bitty teeny tiny voice. You should have hit me with that first thing. Anyway, so the top three items there, as I was listening to you, what I understood was those reports come from outside of the work group.
Outside the organization. Well, the first, all three out of the work group, and then
Yeah,
couple of them outside.
I would expect that Star Transit probably does their report monthly as
We're
well.
just providing them.
So those reports, I think, lend themselves to be done monthly. And then the bottom three items, staff probably has more involvement in preparing those reports. So they are more time consuming. And so perhaps it would be better that those reports be done quarterly. And that's my rationale for recommending that. At least suggest.
Thank you for that feedback.
Does any other board member have feelings that they'd like to express about these reports?
I personally like the Economic Development Fund report monthly. I'd like to see how that's going and where our spending's going and how our cash flow is going.
Is that the one?
That's this one here. This is great, because this is the year end of 24 and the start of 25, which is awesome. So I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, and then to me, the grants tracking one is an important one for a lot of people. So I feel that that's a great one to add monthly as well, because to me, it's a great reminder of people that are rolling off with their grants because they've aged out and they're busy doing other things with their business. And they kind of forget about maybe that grant. And if they were to get a call from someone that's at the city that says, hey, your grant's gonna expire next month, what's your intention?
Yeah.
And we'll let it roll off if you don't want it, or if we need to be business friendly and act appropriately, maybe do something different, change course for them.
Okay.
Because we did that with Have Our Burger, I think it was over on Clark Road. He was struggling with getting the sign replaced, and we kept working with him as he kept experiencing problems with different issues.
Took a while.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, well, just for the record, I support what Mr. Zilka said. It will be more work for you all, but as you can see, it's important not only to the board, but also in certain instances, the clientele, the people that are looking for financial assistance, that we manage that relationship and inform them you know, where they are, so that way no one inadvertently drops off. So. Okay, so,
Well, thank you, Mr. Goff. So at this point in time, before I forget, I would like to share with you this, this month's featured business video.
He opened his first business in town.
My name is Tracy Shook, and I'm the owner of Kim and Jenny's Cafe. Kim and Jenny's over the years have changed ownership 2 or 3 times, and I was approached because Kim and Jenny's was possibly going to go away, and I am a fan of business in Duncanville, and I thought that with my experience, I could take Kim and Jenny's and grow it.
For Tracy, it wasn't just another restaurant. It was a gathering place where regulars became friends and friends became family.
I first started coming to Kim and Jenny's probably when they opened. And to me, it feels like maybe 30 years ago. I would come up here with my dad on Saturdays for breakfast. It was the one time that, you know, we got to spend together each week and 2 hours in the morning. And it became special then. It always felt like a community. Everyone knew everyone. When we knew the wait staff, we knew everyone that walked in the door. If we didn't know people, we got to know them.
Over time, Tracy realized the cafe wasn't only feeding people.
What I think makes Kim and Jenny's so unique is the customers are more like family. Whenever they come in each day, they're looking forward not only to the food and the desserts, but they're looking forward to getting their hugs.
And at Kim and Jenny's, nearly everything is homemade, from breakfast to burgers to desserts that feel like childhood.
I love this place. We moved out here maybe in the area in about 2006, found this place, and I'll tell you the truth. Our favorite meal here is the omelet. The meat lover omelet is everything.
We try to stick to as many homemade items as possible because I think people miss going to a restaurant and being able to get homemade food. And so when you come here, it's always going to be fresh and homemade.
But the cafe growth soon spilled beyond its coffee mugs. The old kitchen couldn't keep up with the demand.
What inspired us to open up the new location was the old location we were outgrowing quickly. The kitchen just did not have the capacity for us with the growth that we were having. And we looked around and considered several places for a new location. And we felt that keeping Kim and Jenny's in the city of Duncanville and keeping Kim and Jenny's in the same shopping center would be our best interest.
The new location is bigger, brighter, and undeniably retro. The booths alone draw crowds. Some guests wait 30 extra minutes just to sit in one.
The remodel of the new kitchen has made it more efficient for the staff. And we're constantly, each day, adding more staff, 5, 10 years ahead. And I think Kim and Jenny's will continue to grow for the city. I think it'll be a destination location for the city.
For some, Kim and Jenny's is a Saturday breakfast tradition. For others, it's a place to meet, connect, and be part of Duncanville. And for Duncanville, it's another champion at work, where history, food, and family come together.
What I really love about the place is it's so comforting to be in the place. I love the atmosphere. The service is great. The people are wonderful. They're welcoming. If I move all the way across town, I'm still coming here. So this is my place to be.
Well, there you go. That's this month's featured business. We're super excited about the fact that we rolled out with this and we apologize about that. We use this as an opportunity to, as it was said in the video, to showcase our various champions at work. And we've so far received some great feedback about this series and some of the businesses that we featured. There's many more to come, and we thought that this would be an ideal space for us to show you some of the work that we do behind the scenes, between the meetings, and give you an opportunity to see some of the champions as it's at work. So if it's okay, what I'd like to do moving forward is present to you, as we've done these last 2 months, the featured business, so you guys can see some of the finished product and some of the businesses that we're showcasing in our community. Is that all right with everybody? I know it takes a little bit longer, and the director's report is not 2 minutes, but I think it's important to take this opportunity to showcase, just again, the businesses that work and the champions in our community. Is that okay?
Now, let me say with all due respect, it's becoming a very personal, popular feature of mine to see little films, because I have a thing about stories, and I think a story communicates. So it communicates well. So congratulations on the effort.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate the feedback. And that's just it. Every business has a story, every business. And so through this series, what we're trying to do is use this as an opportunity to tell the story about the business and what makes them a champion in our community.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time on this matter.
Mr. Hart,
Sir.
I just want to follow up with Mr. Barrera. I had a chance to go to Kim and Jenny's 2 weekends ago, I think it was. And if any of the board members haven't been there yet, I'd encourage you to go. It was just very, very bright and different than the old Kim and Jenny's. So it's put it on your future list.
Thank you.
Does that conclude the
I'm sorry,
director's
go ahead.
report? No, does that conclude the director's?
It does, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, number 5, consent agenda. Do we have anything under consent? I don't think so. All right, so let's jump right over that. Then we'll go to public hearings. Item 6 on the agenda, conduct a public hearing in consideration of resolution 2025-1039, approving an economic development incentive agreement between the City of Duncanville, Community and Economic Development Corporation, DCEDC, and Park Lane Investments LLC, DBA, Corinth Properties, for improvements at 918 East Highway 67, Duncanville, Texas. This agreement provides for the sharing of the city's sales tax revenues generated by Bojangles for an amount not to exceed $150,000 or 5 years, whichever comes first, beginning upon issuance of the certificate of occupancy, to offset extraordinary site development and drainage improvement costs. So at this time, we will open up the public hearing at 6:39, and we will start out with staff.
Mr. Charlie, do we need to take a vote, or we can open it? Before I go into my presentation.
No, he can open the public hearing.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. So this evening, what we have up for your consideration is a sales tax sharing agreement. I shared with you that earlier that this year has been a busy year and that we've been having a series of conversations with a series of entities that are looking to invest and reinvest in the community. This project is one that we've been working on for quite some time. What you have up for your consideration is the development of 2 lots, 2 parcel lots, just in front of Highway 67 that have been undeveloped. The proposed uses, as Mr. Harvey had mentioned, you have a quick service restaurant, Bojangles, and you have the Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union. Where we stand with the project as it relates to the end users is that you have a credit union that's currently under agreement, and the Bojangles restaurant is currently pending and contingent upon the agreement that you have before you. The purpose of this sales tax sharing agreement is, and up for your consideration, is a 75% sales tax sharing agreement tied to the revenue produced by this business. So this is, again, a performance-based incentive. This is along the lines of what we've been discussing for quite some time and in line with the board's economic development policy. Just to give you a quick understanding of what we're talking about, where we're at. In the green is the proposed site for Bojangles. just to the north, if you will, or adjacent is the former Luby's, that's now the Empire Buffet. And right behind it is the Best Western. I thought I'd just kind of walk you through like where we're at, what we're talking about and its proximity to kind of help put some context into the development and the financial assistance requests. Site challenges. It was mentioned in the agenda that what we have here is we have a situation where the site by itself presents a series of challenges that are unlike any other site that you would encounter. One of the things that you have is you have to redirect the stormwater that runs through the property, and here shortly I will show you pictures to kind of help you understand and put into context the challenges that are involved with this property and the costs associated with bearing and relocating those that flow. What you also have is, and that we've learned here recently, is that you have some hard sedimentary rock approximately 3 feet below grade. Unfortunately, the rock extends throughout the course of the entire property, or for that matter, across the entire 2 properties owned by Corinth Properties. So what this does is that this creates and requires a specialized excavation equipment and labor to address this, to get them site ready and development ready. So what you have as a result is you have an additional cost of $250,000 to address this issue with the sites, which unfortunately creates feasibility challenges for the development of the sites. Now, the question is, why is an economic incentive being requested? Because of the material costs, because of the additional costs associated with the property and the challenges. You have the challenges of the stormwater and the sanitary sewer limitations, and now you have the challenges of the rock 3 feet under the grade that extend itself across the entire 2 outlets owned by Corinth Properties. And here's just some pictures of the site conditions to kind of help you understand like what are some of the challenges and what are some of the hurdles that the developer needs to address to make these sites developable for any user. In this case, we're talking about a credit union and a restaurant. And that's what makes this site unique and for consideration. What you have here is an example of a conceptual development plan, just to kind of help you understand like what's going to be developed and how it's going to lay out. Again, this is the conceptual development plan. And what you have here is the proposed building elevation for both end users. What this does as far as additional investment and job creation, as far as the developer investment, you have $1 million in civil and infrastructure improvements. As it relates to the credit union, you have approximately $3.5 million in a facility investment. You have approximately 10 full-time jobs, which establishes a strong, and they have a strong track record of being very community-minded and very involved with the community and reinvesting in the community. As it relates to the restaurant Bojangles, you have approximately over $2 million in building and finish out for this project, and approximately 30 to 40 employees. What you see as a total, as far as total private investment for these 2 lots, exceeds $8 million across both lots that again have not been developed for some time. So now this is an opportunity to bring these properties into productive use, generate property tax, sales tax, and jobs in the community. Now, and actually I probably got a bit ahead of myself, but when we talk about the economic and community impact, we talk about the sales activity. We talk about an estimated, and that's, I apologize for the error, that should be $3 million, at least what's projected right now for the Bojangles to do in sales annually. Workforce and jobs, we're looking at about combined 40+ jobs between both end users, both being entry-level and management positions. The community benefit, I mentioned that a little bit ago. You talk about activating these long vacant parcels and bringing them into productive use. We're talking about increased foot traffic and support for adjacent businesses. You have that synergy there now with this type of investment. And you have a impact to nearby businesses, including the Empire Restaurant and the Best Western Hotel, as just a quick example of the benefit of this type of investment. I mentioned to you earlier about corporate citizenship. The restaurant Bojangles supports children's literacy, education, and veterans charities. and the credit union invest back in the community that it serves. Now I'll get to the overall, providing you a high-level summary of the agreement terms. This is a sales tax sharing agreement. Again, the structure is, as it's structured currently, and what you have before you is 75% of the sales tax generated by the restaurant, in this case Bojangles, would be reimbursed and go back to the developer. The term is 5 years, and the 5 years begins upon the issuance of the certificate of occupancy for the end user. That's when the clock starts running. As far as safeguards is concerned, the incentive is tied solely to the Bojangles restaurant and the performance of the restaurants. There is no upfront payment, and there is no obligation if the sales don't materialize. So in this instance, if they don't meet the projected $3 million in sales and they don't meet the $150,000 over the course of 5 years, we give them what we give them at that agreed upon distribution rate of 75/25. The purpose, and again, I shared with you, the purpose of this economic incentive agreement is to help offset some of the extraordinary costs associated with the development of this site, and provide the feasibility of the construction of 2 end users. What we have for you is just consideration this evening of this agreement and the proposed terms. We have a representative, John Dickey from Corinth Properties, that's here, that is available to answer any questions that I may not be answered and share with you maybe a little bit more detail about the proposed developments. As far as project status and next steps, the submission of the civil plans will be done once the comments are received. They are looking to finalize the agreement with Bojangles. Again, this is all pending the city's approval of the sales tax sharing agreement. As far as estimated timeline and construction work, we're looking at an estimated 4 months after the permits are issued to complete the civil work and 6 months to do the vertical construction. Next decisions, we're looking for your input and your support on this proposed sales tax sharing agreement. Following an action by this board, the next step will be that this item will be brought to City Council with a similar presentation and looking for their support and approval of the proposed terms for this agreement. That is my presentation. Any questions?
Okay, are there any questions from the board to Mr. Barrera? Okay,
I guess I have one question. Are we gonna be able to see the civil designs of what the impact is and what the existing issues are and the restoration type exhibit?
As far, would you like that included as far as an attachment to the agreement?
Yeah, because the graphic that you showed us of the site plan doesn't really reflect the infrastructure issues that have to go in there. And then I guess my other question is this contingent on both properties being completed before this agreement starts? And I'll defer that to Mr. Shelby.
If I may, the way this agreement is written is that it's specifically tied to the Bojangles restaurant, because that's the business that's providing the sales tax, to put us in a position that we could reimburse the applicant, in this case the property owner, the dollar amount requested. That was the most viable option than tying both properties, because you have a situation where the credit union does not generate sales tax, it produces property tax, but not at the rates that we would like to get the reimbursement of the developer in the time requested. So this evening, we're presenting it as the Bojangles restaurant, but truth be told, they're both tied. Is one contingent upon the other? I would say yes, because we need to overcome the challenges with the development of the site as it relates to the stormwater, the drainage, and also now we have the rock that's 3 feet under the grade and across the entire site. So those are real challenges to this site and are unique.
Ms. Hadley?
Just real quick, you said on there, I guess if they didn't make the 150, was it 75?
It's,
25?
yes, so let's see. Yes.
Okay.
So it's, the way the agreement is written is that we agree to share, if you will, 75% of the total sales tax that's generated by Bojangles. But the agreement is written as such that the timeline for the term is 5 years upon the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. So for example, they're projecting right now, or at least what's projected is $3 million in sales annually. In the event, hypothetically speaking, that they don't generate that, let's just say that it generates 1.5. Our agreement is that we agreed to give them back 75% of the actual. So in the event that 5 years are up and we've only given them, say, $100,000 as an example, that's all we would give. But on the other end, if the projections just far exceed, we cap it at 150.
Right.
So you could have a situation where, hypothetically speaking, you could have paid them off in 3 years. But know that you're not gonna give them any more than $150,000, and the term is 5 years, it's capped.
Thank
So
you.
again, you're very welcome. Again, this is in line with what we've been talking about, performance-based and not having to check in on where you're at with that. And Mrs. Zilka, you had mentioned earlier about some of these and having to check in. This in part, and structuring this way, puts a little bit of a less check-in because they have to do their work in order for us to agree to do our part.
So the applicant is here, and I would like to bring that person forward, have them introduce themselves, and perhaps you all, the board may have questions that specifically designed for the representative. So, sir, would you come forward?
Yes.
Introduce yourself, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, everyone. I'm John Dickey. My address is 7014 Lattimore, Dallas. We've been working with the city on this project for mid-2023. And thanks for Victor and everybody for helping us along the way. But we're here to see this one through. But so I have plans up here too that we've met with the city on for years. I would like to look at it too. Civil plan. But yeah, happy to help you. Answer any questions you have. Thank you.
No, speak up loud.
No, speak.
We can't hear you.
You and I have the same problem. You gotta speak up.
Yes, thank you.
I guess I just,
Good.
one question, is the franchisee, a franchisee that already has Bojangles in the area, is it a new franchisee?
This is a corporate.
It's a corporate
Yes.
owned, okay.
Yes.
Good to know.
Okay.
And so, I guess just to go on that more, we have a sanitary, when we bought the property, there's a 100-foot sanitary segment. We didn't know at the time, we thought it was served by the city. Come to find out it's only a 100-foot segment, capped at both ends, doesn't go anywhere. So we have to extend the sanitary line about 350 feet down to Avenue of the Stars. As well as the storm, which is quite a big undertaking, as we're accepting all the storm runoff from the Lubies, the two medical buildings behind us. So all this runoff from Lubies, the hotel, and these two medical buildings all drain onto our property through this ravine. So we gotta put a large underground detention system to accept that and then slowly drain that off into under 67. The properties behind us had the benefit of extra land, so they could put their detention pond here, but these sites are only 0.8 acres each, which is very tight as it is. And then in meeting with the city, specifically the fire department, they wanted some fire lanes across the front along the service road and down, and so that we put those in to satisfy that, even though we have some fire hydrants flanking us on all the corners. But that's what the request is, so that's what we designed for. And so that just makes it very tight, and to put everything underground, it's expensive. So, and then we have Bojangles. We were dealing with Starbucks from the beginning. We had some challenges at the beginning and unfortunately lost them. But with Bojangles, with the rock situation that Victor was talking about, we almost lost that deal because it was another $250,000 in rock excavation for them. And so we said, let us take care of that. So that's why we're here for that, just to keep that deal alive. And we're almost there. The lease negotiations is kind of the last bit. So we're taking on some more work. We're going to do some underground excavation for the grease trap and put in some parking concrete for them. So we're just a yard away for that.
One last question, you mentioned that sewer line extension goes down to the Avenue of Stars.
Correct.
So it's off-site.
Off-site.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was clear.
Yeah. Sorry. So we're gonna have to run, that segment is right here in this paving.
Yes.
And so we're gonna have to continue down to Avenue of the Stars. There's a manhole right here. So you've got about 350 feet to connect this segment.
And that creates a complete loop or ties it back into the overall system for the city, I guess. So that's a betterment to the city.
It won't be a loop, because I think Luby's goes this way. But yeah, I mean, it ties that segment down.
You're right over there.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
John, are there existing easements there for you to go through there?
Yes, there is. The property owner who we bought it from way back when, we had an easement here, which we abandoned with the plat that we just finished up the end of the year. But there's an access and utility easement. The idea was for this internal drive to continue over and down and connect.
So that can be a roadblock for you to get out.
No. And that's just gonna help out the property owner that we bought it from, who's now gonna have utility service there, so.
Okay, are there?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, at this point, in the public hearing, is there anyone present from the public that would like to speak for or against this particular item? And we'll start with 4, and you have 3 minutes. And when you begin your remarks, please start by saying your name and address for the record. So, do we have anyone in the public wanting to speak in favor of this particular item? Conversely, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak against this particular project? All right, thank you so much. So,
motion to close the public hearing?
They can go.
Okay.
so I am going to close this public hearing at 6:59 p.m. And so, we are to conduct a public hearing and consideration of resolution 2025-10-39, approving an economic development incentive agreement between the City of Duncanville Community and Economic Development Corporation, DCEDC, and Park Lane Investments, LLC, DBA Current Properties for improvements at 918 East Highway 67. The chair will entertain a motion either for or against this item at this time.
I move for approval of resolution 2025-10-39.
Is there a second?
I second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve this item on the agenda. If there are no other questions at this time, we will have a roll call vote.
Ms. Abney?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Ms. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Thompson? Aye. Mr. Zilka?
Yes.
It passes unanimously. Okay. Thank you all so much. Thank you, staff. Thank you, applicant, for your persistence in working with us.
Thank you all very much.
All right. Okay. That takes us to briefings and presentations. 7A, update on the design grant program, including outreach session and online incentive grant applications. Okay, staff.
All right, good evening, President Harvey and DCEDC Board, Marcela Perez, Economic Development Coordinator. I'm so happy to provide you an update on our Design Incentive Grant Program. As I averted to previously, we scheduled 2 information sessions for our business community to provide in-person support in the form of a full explanation on the program, the types of grants that are offered under the Design Incentive Grant umbrella, and answer any questions that they may have had. There were 2 sessions that were offered. One at 7:30 in the morning on Tuesday, November 18th for those businesses that were needing to get in early. And then we had a second session on Thursday, November the 20th at 6 p.m. We had about 24 individuals that were pre-registered for both sessions, and we had 20 in attendance. But I will say our marketing department did a great job in assisting us with an entire social marketing media campaign. There were 17 posts that went out across both the city and DCEDC social media platforms, and it had a total reach of almost 4,000 individuals. So I would say there was a great success in that campaign, and we have gotten some additional questions and comments since then, so that is continuing to work and make its way out into the social media world. And also, I will add, it did go out in the weekly city news email newsletter as well. So just to reiterate, the online application, which is now 100% online, whereas previously we were accepting paper applications in person. And just to streamline and make the process more efficient, everything is online. And as promised, the program opened and everything went live on December the 1st. And so the application, the guidelines that were previously presented to you had that full explanation and a breakdown to be a form of a handout, an easy reference handout for applicants. That is posted. The templates, the business and marketing plan templates to make it that much easier for businesses who may not already have these plans in place. They can easily download the templates and just fill in their information as they go. This is located or housed on the Economic Development Local Incentives webpage, which I'll go over in just one second. And then there is one grant application per category, and that was just in working with our CRM provider, where the grant application essentially is going to be uploaded. And I don't know if you remember us speaking previously about Blue Dot. So not only do they house or host our online business directory, they are also our CRM now for economic development for all of our business profiles and storing information and communication to the businesses. So I worked with them to create the grant application so that when businesses apply, it will be uploaded directly into the CRM. And if that business doesn't already have a profile, the application will create a new business profile for that business. So that was a labor of love, of course. So this is just an overview, and if I can get your assistance, please. Don't want to break anything. Just so I can give you a walkthrough of what this will look like for the applicant. you. So, from the city's homepage, and this is tutorial, just in case, things have changed a little bit, so just in case anyone hasn't referenced this, you could easily, from the business menu item at the top, if you just hover over that and then move the browser over to under economic development, local incentives is a direct menu item there that they can easily click on and access in one click. And that was, we had made some modifications to that as well, just to again make it easier for the public and for businesses to just access. So under local incentives, there's the design incentive program breakout that lists that the applications will be available from December 1st to March 1st, 2026. And there's a step-by-step guide that it gives them a rundown of step one is for them to download the guidelines. Because we really want all applicants, before they even try to begin the application process, we want them to reference this document so they have a full understanding of what we're asking them to submit, the type of grants that we offer, the projects that are eligible, again, just so that they can get a full understanding of what goes into submitting an application and what would be eligible. Then step two would be, if necessary, if they didn't already have a business or marketing plan, they could download these templates. And again, these templates, I specifically pulled these from SCORE because it's just meant to be, if they have never filled one out before, it can literally be a plug and play, so that they could just plug their information in and use these templates to upload in their application if they don't already have them.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What's SCORE?
SCORE is a national nonprofit business resource for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Then step three is for them to gather all the required application, which again is broken down in that grant guidelines document. And then step four is for them to choose the application based on the grant that they are interested in. Now, again, in the information sessions and in the guidelines, it's reiterated they can apply for more than one grant if they so choose. That's perfectly fine. However, just so that we could keep all the grants separate and the information that's being collected and the way that it's being absorbed into the system, it is one grant application per category. So if they're interested in more than one, they would just submit multiple applications. But again, just so that we can make it easy for the applicant, I made sure that every application is completely uniform as far as the order of the applications, the types of documents that we're asking for, so that it's not them having to complete a brand new application and having to learn this over for each one. So just to make it easier for them, I worked with our rep to make sure that it was laid out exactly the same. And they can just fill out one and essentially use that same information and just copy and paste into these fields in the other applications. So this is what that looks like. And again, I really like that it was just, it's user-friendly, it's not too complicated, it's very specific. I made the fields that are required be a requirement. They can't upload unless they have filled in the information. And as well as the uploads, we have had one applicant, and it was great that she provided a lot of feedback on the application. There was a little snag with the type of document that she was trying to upload, so I worked with Blue Dot, we got that all squared away. So, but this is what that will look like.
Whereas,
Yes,
so
sir.
the way this is configured currently, they have to submit the application in one session, but they can't save it and come back to it later. They
Yes,
have-
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And that's that mentality that I work with businesses that are completing permit applications on other systems, and if they don't have the information and they get to a question, then they lose their progress.
Yeah.
So I intentionally created it so that step one is that they download the guidelines and they fully understand everything that they need to have ready before they can even begin the application.
How much time you think on average would be required in order to completely fill out the application? I'm just curious.
That's a good question. It was my hope that in providing the guidelines that the applicant could gather all that information and have it ready, so that by the time they go to complete the online application, it just make it that much easier and faster. So it all just depends on if they have that information that's outlined, ready to go, and plug it in.
The reason why I ask it is because, like, for example, if you're filling out a tax return of some kind, then the IRS would say, we estimate that it will take 5 minutes to do this. So I was just curious.
No, that's a great question. Like I said, I think just depending on if they have all the information and they can plug it in, it could take as little as 5 to 10 minutes.
I have questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you ever consider an opportunity for them to save what they have and come back later? Since they're business people, they may have something come up and may need to step away from it for a minute. So would you consider that in the future?
I could definitely provide that feedback to our rep, so that that maybe they can build that into the application component. Because I know there are systems out there that it will save your progress and keep it. So that could be a suggestion for them to definitely see if they can build that capability into their system. And I think too, because it's essentially inputting information, and when they're done, they can download it. They're not having to create a user account, create a login, enter their information. That provides an ease, but it also provides a barrier, because again, what I've seen on other systems with applicants, that they have to stop, go through, create an account, verify the email, then that adds more onto the length of time into them creating and completing their application. So it's a benefit definitely for them to be able to save their progress, but I've seen that too, so. Any other questions?
And this may be in your presentation, we may have covered in the past, but are you going to, there's a scoring matrix that you've developed, and the staff is going to pre-score these? What's the process?
Great question, thank you so much. Yes, that is something that we have been in discussion about, and I'm currently working on, as well as the creation of a committee of various staff members across different departments. Again, because our application and those requirements that we have is that they be compliant on any previous violations, or that their permit fees, all of those things. So that's one thing that I've been thinking about and working with Director Burr as well, to look at creating a committee that could help us score, that it wouldn't just be on economic development staff, that we have input from other staff that could help provide background or history that we may not be aware of. But then also, yes, going back to the scoring matrix, as I've been involved in CDBG application processes before, and that just makes it easy for the committee or the commission that's scoring to be able to provide an easy reference as to why the decision was made and why those applicants were selected to receive the grant funding.
Okay.
I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I've been tinkering here while you've been talking, but it looks really good. I'm really impressed with it.
Thank you.
I noticed at the bottom, you can't get to page 2 of this application. What's on page 2?
The remainder of the questions. So it's set up in a way that you can't move on until you've completed each field.
Yeah. So just what type of questions do you ask me on the next field?
They're all the same, so what I just did is created an online application that directly mirrored the paper application that we had previously, that was included as the part of the policy and the proposed changes that were approved by you all in the summer. So there's nothing new, didn't add any new fields or anything. We just took everything that was on the paper, all those questions and fields, and put that on the online application.
Definitely will help with legibility, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely.
No, it looks really nice, and, I like the fact that you give them directions up front so that they don't come in and they're like, well, you didn't tell me, but it's already there. If they read it, the key word is you gotta read it.
Yes, sir.
If we ever get printed material, if we could have a QR code to the site, so that, you know, if we go to a site visit and visit with a business, hey, by the way, here it is. You know, here's the QR code, just take a look. And, we can drop that off, because when I went to Ollie's, they didn't want to know anything about anything, about grants or anything. They're happy doing their thing. But I did give them, Marlon, the contact information.
It's great feedback. Thank you.
But
I'll make
it's
that help
only
right
nice.
now.
Any more questions from the board on progress on this initiative? Design Incentive Grant Program. Okay, thank you. All right, 7B, discuss a proposed date for the annual joint meeting with the city council pursuant to current DCEDC bylaws and proposed amendments. Staff.
Okay, DCEDC board. Our bylaws, our current bylaws and proposed changes to the bylaws, they both contemplate annual joint meetings with the city council, right? And so historically, that meeting, and again, the current prior to revision, to take place in the summer, like July even. The city council proposed and instead we meet and have our joint meeting January the 26th, right? So at the start of the calendar year. That's advantageous if you think about it, considering it's in advance of the city's annual budget calendar and process. You kind of maybe get to set the stage for the calendar year priorities, discussion items. And so that's the proposed date, probably at the senior center, because it can accommodate the number of bodies and voices and seats required to have that joint meeting, right? So when we start thinking about joint meetings, different from our regularly scheduled meetings, right? Some of the items that's maybe could be proposed and the agenda hasn't been finalized. But if you think about some of the items could be budget priorities for the coming fiscal year, strategic goals otherwise. Again, we talked about some proposed amendments to our bylaws, right? That might be a really good opportunity. The city attorney has the draft already. Obviously, our attorney and committees have worked hard on those drafts. So that's an example. One of the things that comes up routinely really is just this understanding of the differences between the two entities, right? You got a municipal corporation and you got a local government, city council. So talk about those nuances between, you know, what policy, real estate transaction, procurement kind of looks like. Like we are always in conversation with our chief procurement office because we're city employees, right? But our operations are funded by corporations. So really just a chance to get those questions on the table for discussion and clarification with both the board, the city council, and the attorneys. Some of the other things we talked over the year, an item on the agenda, maybe later tonight, Chamber of Commerce. Again, ongoing conversation about that partnership and what we have in common, and then give them an update on some of the work we started doing with this board around business ambassador visits, right? So this isn't meant to represent in any way what the agenda will be, but really just to kind of stimulate some of the discussion or thought as we plan and prepare for that joint meeting. Now, the 26th, that's the same date as our regularly scheduled meeting. So a good thing for us is we don't have to scramble to find another date to accommodate. They're willing to accommodate us by meeting on the fourth Monday of the month. We thank you for that, okay? But yeah, so this is, I wanted to put this slide to kind of aid the conversation, or at least see if there's any questions for the staff. And then we obviously have a member from the city manager's office here as well to help answer any questions that, I'm not qualified to answer. If you want, and I'll ask you this, because the next item is also tied to January 26th. We have to set it up sequentially on the agenda because this is also, again, another municipal entity related to the business of economic development, right? And that's our tax income and financing board. So I defer to the board president and attorney if you would like to, again, have the same discussion, present this item and then open the floor for discussion on both of them because there's no action required for these items.
If you want to take these two together, I think
Oh,
it makes sense.
okay,
to take-
yeah.
see.
Yeah, we'll take both of them together.
Okay. Literally one more slide. Okay, tax increment financing board, right? That's the board that's seated to cover the reinvestment zone that essentially encompasses Camp Wisdom between Copper Hill and, on the west side of Maine, right? So example of maybe some of the discussion that we have additionally for that, I guess it's no longer a joint session if it's 3 entities, right? What do you call that? It's still joint? Okay. Well, added to that agenda could potentially be the discussion on how the TIF board and the DCEDC board with the common staff could brainstorm and collaborate about how to implement the comprehensive plan, right? So that could be an example of a talking point for that joint session. And then with that, we've been having conversations with them about updating the project and financing plan and maybe even looking at some targeted areas within the overlay district of the TIP to really be strategic, right? And then lastly, I think we've talked about this with both boards, the scheduled repayment of that loan that this board helped initiate to start and fund that tax income addition. There's still some time left. They declined to pay that up front, once they, not pay it up front, but pay it during the previous fiscal year. So there's still some discussion. Maybe we can, talk with them about plans, timing, so that would help inform our budget discussion as we go into the calendar year. So that's, again, an example of maybe what that joint session on January the 26th could entail with all of those parties.
So, Marlon, do you think that it would enhance the effectiveness of that joint meeting if prior to the meeting, our members would familiarize themselves, not necessarily to the expert level, but read through the comprehensive plan?
Definitely, as board, as a citizen, a resident, absolutely, yeah. That was a pretty big undertaking, something you only do most cities every 10 years. So, at least the implementation part that involves this group, and the strategies called out for us to consider. I think some of the stuff, that we try to present to you is already kind of in line with the implementation. But, yeah, I would say it definitely helped the conversation.
And I'm just suggesting that because I get the sense from looking at the board that many of us have already looked at the comprehensive plan. So it's just a small additional homework assignment over the Christmas holidays to read through it and just be ready to have some very productive, weighty decisions and discussion in January.
Just for information, I'll have to work through my schedule. I am scheduled to be out of town for work that particular week, so, but I'll try to work through that. I'll update you if I can't work through it.
Okay. Well, and like normal, we'll be, polling you guys, because again, it's our regular scheduled meeting day, and it's understandable if there's conflicts.
All right, well, I'm available for you to prep me at any time.
Two things. Can you also send out the TIF, link to where the TIF's information is, so we
Yeah.
can read about the TIF
Yeah, we
for
got some.
that?
Okay.
And then I just think from a logistics point of view, with the volume of information in there, I think we should also plan on a date for any EDC business of grants or applications on a separate date. Not that I want more meetings, but unfortunately, I think there is enough there. I wouldn't want to add any other to-do items.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for that. We were actually talking about that as a staff, just
So
like that.
if you can find a date for that,
Okay.
just to have it on the radar, so in case something comes up.
All right, so any other questions or comments, suggestions from the board as it relates to the joint meeting with the city and the TIF board?
What would be the start time? Same time?
Yeah, I think 6 is what we generally said.
Regular scheduled meeting time.
Thank you.
Want it early?
It's the pleasure of the president of the board.
Well, you know, I'm retired, y'all work. Be there at noon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The pleasure of the board is 6.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, so now, I'm sorry, I digress. We're at 7D, Economic Development Advisory Services, Catalyst Commercial Staff.
Thank you very much. And so this evening you heard a development proposal that involved a series of challenges to a site and involved a sales tax sharing agreement. And over the course of the last few weeks, we've been talking about various projects throughout the city, some city-owned, some involving city-owned property, some not involving city-owned property, and some having various levels of complexity. And so that said, from time to time, we have found that it would be helpful to have an advisor, if you will, to evaluate the proposals that are in front of us and help us in determining if that may be the highest and best use, or for that matter, if it's a financial, suitable, and feasible property and project for us to bring forward for approval. So that said, we have over the course of the last few months been exploring if there is a consultant, if such a thing exists, where we can bring someone on board on an advisory basis to help us to be a supplement of staff, if you will, not to really be involved in the heavy negotiation, but it's always helpful to have another set of eyes on these projects to give you a check. We had a development proposal here not that long ago that the financial request was $6 million. It's a sizable number. It's a sizable dollar amount that really involves someone with a level of expertise to look through, to comb through the financials, to comb through the project costs, and provide the DCEDC and in certain instances the city with a review and some advice and maybe some direction on some of the items that are coming before the DCEDC and the city council for consideration and various levels of participation. We've also been having conversations about properties that are owned by the city and the DCEDC and bringing them back into productive use. And so we've, in the last few months, we presented to you various conceptual plans that it would be helpful to have someone look at, or a group to look at, that has a certain level of expertise to do that when the project gets very complicated. If there are projects that staff can handle, that we can review, like the one that we presented earlier this evening, we will continue doing that. But this is a situation where we would bring on a consultant as an advisor as needed, depending on the various levels of complexity. So that said, as we started looking and exploring the number of options, we came across Catalyst Commercial. We have the owner, John Sausch, here that is able to answer any questions that you may have regarding him and his firm. But we felt comfortable with Catalyst Commercial in that they have a solid team that knows the DFW very well, that it has done over 1,800 projects in the DFW area in various communities, and in some instances, even our neighboring communities. So we thought that there was definitely a value in bringing someone on board and a team with that level of expertise to serve as an advisor to the city. In this instance, what you have in your packet is a draft of the professional service agreement. This evening, we are not asking for any formal action under the agreement. What we're just asking is just to have a conversation, to get some feedback. Based on your feedback, we make any necessary adjustments, and we come back at a future meeting for formal action.
Any questions from the board?
Quick
Yes.
question.
Yes.
So, and this may not be for this meeting, maybe later. So it's kind of two things that come to mind. What are the budget implications? And then bringing on something like that, does it require some sort of RFP or something with the city to send out to get proposals from people who are gonna do this scope of work? To then somebody picks the people from the RFP?
So good question. So I'll answer that one first. The DCEDC procurement policy is different from that, unlike the city council, where in a situation like that, you would have to go out and put RFPs and solicit on. In this instance, with the DCEDC, and I asked Mr. Shelby if I'm wrong in any of this, my understanding, but because this is considered a professional service, we can go out there and interview several consultants. We do not have to go through the formal RFP process. We can have a conversation with various professionals for this service, which we did and we have, and we can select one that we feel is a good fit for the organization's needs. To answer your question about the cost right now that we're putting out there for consideration is starting off at $49,000 for this fiscal year. What that would do is that would hit our professional services account. But again, we're talking about an advisor, bringing an advisor as needed. We can start off with a lesser amount and kind of work that relationship like that. And if there's a greater need and the costs go up, we can come back and make changes. But we thought that this was just an opportunity to introduce this item, the benefits to having an advisor go through and guide us through some of the complex projects, but also help us maybe with other properties that we may not have the staff time or the bandwidth to bring back into productive use or move along. Yes, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So along that same line, you mentioned, I see in the presentation here, it says a task order model. So would that be basically Catalyst or consultant will provide a proposal for each project? And it's an hourly not to exceed or a lump sum for that particular project? How would you structure, how would that be structured for each project they take a look at?
Yes, that's a good question, and unfortunately, the presentation that I put together didn't make it on this level, but I apologize. But good question. It is our opinion that this relationship is better and more cost efficient to structure it as a task, as opposed to what you have here as an hourly rate, because you can quickly and easily go through $49,000, but if you work through specific tasks, you have a better chance of being more efficient and more resourceful with the use of the consultant's time, staff time, and ultimately the dollar amount.
So a consultant, you give the consultant a project, sorry, Ms. Harvey. You give a project, this is the project we're looking at, they'll take a look at it and say, we think it's gonna take X number of hours to do this at this cost. And give a proposal, and you give them basically a task order to say, this is what we're gonna do that, whether it's again, lump sum, or whether it's hourly not to exceed.
Yes, correct. And so over the course of the next few weeks, what we would do is we would identify those tasks, those projects that are priority for us, for the DCEDC and City Council, work through that and bring that back. And then yes, that would be, again, specific to the task, specific to the work, and that would, in essence, help us with keeping the costs down.
And I would add that the fiscal year is not even 25% done. So it's early enough in the fiscal year, now that we're cognizant of this, that there are still sufficient resources there to move around if needed.
one additional question. So is any of the costs, would it be shared with the city at all? With any planning, zoning type of?
That's a good question. Right now, it is anticipated for the DCEDC to take on those costs. Moving forward, one thing that we can explore is an applicant having to reimburse the DCEDC or the city for the use of the consultant's time. That's one thing that I actually had suggested with a recent proposal that came to you as a way of offsetting those costs and bearing those costs on the applicant and not having it solely come to the DCEDC or the city, but that it would be reimbursed. So again, the reason that we would use an advisory service is because we have a project in front of us to consider, and sometimes, again, that project has various levels of complexity that it would be extremely helpful to have another set of eyes, a third party look at it to provide us with an independent analysis and recommendation.
I would personally support that because I feel like that there should be shared risk, if not 100% developer risk, to get some skin in the game, as it were.
And that's, thank you so much, and that's the direction that we'd like to go to. Like as mentioned earlier, we've just seen quite a bit of interest in various areas throughout the community, development, redevelopment. Here this evening, we talked about a project that's been several years in the making, several conversations, several years, and now we're happy to see it come to fruition. But there's many more projects very similar. With that level of complexity, and just that extra help would be extremely appreciated.
Any other questions, comments, or suggestions? Would we like to hear from the owner of Catalyst? You would?
Jason?
All right. As you begin your presentation, please state your name and address for the record.
And I need to speak up because actually my voice carries pretty
good.
good.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, Jason Clonch, Catalyst Commercial, 3838 Oak Lawn, Dallas, Texas, 75219. Victor, thanks for the introduction. Thanks for having me tonight. I think as Victor mentioned, he did a good job of introducing sort of the topic. We would be available to work on initiatives to help you guys jumpstart projects or evaluate initiatives to sort of true those up in terms of market capacity. Our firm does have a strong amount of experience in master planning and working with TIFs and comp plans and strategic plans, and so I think we'll be very comfortable with the vocabulary, and I would say that likely with the majority of the needs that you would have around real estate. I am a licensed broker, and a number of people within our firm are also licensed brokers, so we're very comfortable with state laws, and again, I think our goal would be just to be a resource for you and help you advance good projects. I would say one caveat in terms of the discussion, it may be a recommendation to give Victor or staff some level of discretion, say up to $5,000, or maybe matters that quite honestly may not be worth creating a task order for, but so there may be a few hours of effort that we could essentially contribute towards that would necessarily effectuate the need for a task order, but anything larger than that, I do agree. I think it would keep both us and staff on the same page.
I think we're already at that point.
Yeah.
So, just wanted to let you know.
Tonight I'm here for Topo Chico, so.
All right.
I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. I know some of the stuff may be confidential in nature, and we would respect that and would assume that those discussions may be had in an executive session, but if there's any topical questions that we can help address, I'd be more than happy to do so.
I have a question. Can you give us an example of like your Grand Prairie project? What support did you do for them, and what was the benefit to the city?
So Grand Prairie, we've been involved in a number of projects. Some of those, as you can imagine, are confidential, but we were involved in creating a master plan for Grand Prairie's downtown. As you know, it's one of the few downtowns that have not been gentrified yet. And I think that was a high priority for staff and council. So our firm actually authored the master plan. We recognized that there was a strong, I guess, issue or conflict with the amount of truck traffic within the main street, and then essentially their main street functions as a local street. I think very ripe for a turnback process, so we helped the city negotiate the turnback process with COG and get that on the tip mod. And we also work with the county to, and COG and TxDOT for funding on what I'll call super roundabout, or Main and Jefferson interface close to the eastern city limit lines, a major infrastructure requirement to address the future truck traffic that would essentially relocate on Jefferson. And then we've been helping the city acquire and relocate and swap a number of properties through their local government corp, which they use as a sort of an interesting tool for acquisition matters. And we've been involved on-call matters on a number of things, helping jumpstart development projects for the city and buy strategic assets with them.
Anyone else? Well, we certainly thank you for your time, and personally, I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, sir.
All right?
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see, item number 8. 8A, discussion and possible action on resolution number 2025-10-40, updating the DCEDC regular meeting schedule and increasing meeting frequency pending city council approval. Staff.
Thank you very much. This item is a follow-up to the conversation that we had last meeting about increasing the meeting schedule. As you will see and have this evening, we are holding a special meeting because our regularly scheduled meeting for the month of December happens to fall within the holiday week, and we have examples of other holidays in where at least 3 examples throughout the course of the calendar year where the meeting happens to fall within a holiday week. So we wanted to look at an opportunity where we could have a second meeting, what I would describe as the first half of the year, to continue with business initiatives, grants, etc., that's related to DCEDC. And here this evening, we were also talking about the possibility of having a joint meeting with City Council, TIF Board, and obviously on a regularly scheduled meeting when there may be other business to take care of. And now we're talking about the possibility of a second meeting to proceed with other economic development business. So that said, based on the feedback that you provided at the last meeting, the consensus, at least that I gathered, was there was a willingness to move in the direction of increasing the meeting frequency. Based on the feedback that we were provided, it seemed like the consensus was to have an additional meeting on the second Monday of every month. We have since then done the research to see if there is any conflict as far as it relates to room reservations, which unfortunately there is a conflict, but that said, there's also a solution. If we go in this direction, we would be meeting in room 103 or building 103 in the conference room where we've had meetings there in the past. That would be only for the second Monday meeting of every month. The fourth meeting of every month would continue to be at City Council in the briefing room. The next steps in this process, if you were to approve this increase in meeting frequency, is that it would then have to be presented to City Council and obtain their approval. That is all I have regarding this matter.
Any questions, comments, suggestions for Mr.
Lester.
Bless you. Okay. Going once, going twice. Any questions for Mr. Burrell? If there are no questions, the chair would like to entertain a motion to either approve or disapprove this initiative for additional meetings. The chair will entertain a motion to approve or disapprove at this time.
Ms. Thomas not here? Do we want to do any input, or are we okay?
That's a good question. You see, I'm wrestling with it.
She did she provide some feedback the last time we discussed this? I can't remember if she did or not.
I think she did.
Yes, I think if memory serves me correctly, her question
started
was,
talking about
by
absence.
increasing the meeting frequency, what does that do in the event that a board member is not available to attend? And is there any conflict with, the number of meetings, that are laid out in the bylaws? And the answer to that was, no, it was staff's opinion that there would not be any conflict so long as there is communication from that board member in advance of their not being able to attend. That it would only become a problem if there was no communication from that board member about their inability to attend the meeting. Then that's when it creates a problem. But so long as there's communication, it would not be.
Let me ask my question again.
Yes.
So should we table since we don't have time?
I'll vote to table it, so we can have it.
All right, well, you can certainly make a motion to that effect.
I move that we table item 8A to make sure we have a full board, or if possible, to discuss and consider this item.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
It has been properly moved and seconded, so let's have a roll call vote on this particular item.
Ms. Abney?
Aye.
Mr. Broughton?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Ms. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Thompson?
Aye.
And Mr. Zilka?
All right.
All right, unanimous. Okay. So, that takes us down to agenda item number 9, which is executive session. In accordance with Texas Government Code, the DCEDC shall convene into closed executive session pursuant to the following sections: Section 551.0872, parentheses 2, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect. In accordance with Texas Government Code, the DCEDC shall convene into closed executive session pursuant to the following sections: Section 551.072, deliberations about the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real properties being located 1, 200 West Center Street, 2, 727 South Copperhill Road, and 3, 100 South Main Street. And the executive session will start at 7:49.
We're ready, sir.
Okay, we're going back into regular session at 8:27, and there is no action to be taken as a result of executive session. Oh, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
The meeting is adjourned. Y'all can stay if you like.